Most of the 8 Sleep reviewers on YouTube were provided a free mattress in exchange for their review. There's nothing wrong with sponsored content as long as it's disclosed, but the problem is that the reviewers' interests aren't really aligned with yours. So I decided to spend almost $2,000 to buy the 8 Sleep Pod Pro cover to become what I think is the first legitimate 8 Sleep review on YouTube. And now it's been almost 6 months since my original purchase. In my conclusion, it was a great buy and I would do it again. And at this point, I just get annoyed when I have to sleep on a bed that isn't automatically cooled for me. But due to the price tag, it's not for everyone. So in this video, I'll go over how the cover and the app work together. Then I'll go over 5 reasons why you should buy it, and then 3 reasons why it might not be a good fit for you. If you get the 8 Sleep mattress, it'll come in 3 separately shipped boxes. One box will have the foam mattress, one will have the active grid with the encasement cover, and then the final box will have the hub. You can buy just the Pod Pro cover and the hub without the mattress if you want to use your own mattress. Either way, you'll get an identical experience. The decision to use 8 Sleep's mattress or use your own comes down to how old and how much you like your current mattress. I didn't really know what to expect from the comfort of 8 Sleep's mattress, so for me, I just bought a $500 mattress on Amazon, which I already had experience with, and I saved a little money. Once you get all the 8 Sleep boxes, the setup is fairly straightforward and there's a step-by-step video tutorial. The entire process took me about an hour. First, you'll place the encasement on the mattress like a fitted sheet, and then you'll add the straps and the active grid to the encasement by zipping them together. Then you attach the hose that extends from the top of the grid to the hub. The hub is the brains of the whole system and is about 12 inches high. It will most likely need to go on the left or the right side of your bed, but I bought a bed frame that's about 14 inches off the ground specifically because I wanted to put my hub under the bed due to my small bedroom size, and it worked perfectly. The last step is to sync your hub to your phone and fill up the reservoir with water and hydrogen peroxide, and then you'll prime the pump, which will cycle water throughout the bed for a couple of hours. The Pod Pro has a grid of coils that have water pumped throughout them to heat or cool the surface. It can heat up to 110 degrees Fahrenheit, which is the +10 temperature level in the app. Or it can get as cold as 55 degrees, which is a -10 temperature inside the app. During 8 Sleep's initial questionnaire, it asks you how you typically feel while you're in bed. Are you using a ton of blankets? Are you routinely throwing off the covers? Or are you somewhere in between? 8 Sleep uses your answers and their data from other users to recommend an ideal bed temperature for each stage of your sleep. Once your bedtime and your wake time are set, 8 Sleep will automatically pre-cool or preheat the bed so that when you hop in bed, it's the perfect temperature. And then once you're out of bed in the morning, it'll automatically turn off. When you open the app, there's a temperature dial that can be used for manual control. But once I had my temperature settings optimized after a few weeks of tweaking, I never touched the manual control again. The best part about the heating and cooling is that it comes with 2 zones, one for each side of the bed. Each side of the bed gets its own 8 Sleep account, and that way each person can have their own custom temperature control. For me, I sleep on the hotter side, so I found that the cool -3 temperature when I get into bed, and then a -2 during deep sleep, a -1 during REM sleep was perfect for me. But my wife prefers the total opposite. Her body gets really cold at night, and she likes her side of the bed to be hot enough to fry an egg on. I don't think there's anything more satisfying at the end of the day than coming in a nice cool bed. It's so great. I've only owned my 8 Sleep during a cold New England winter. But once the summer hits and the humidity and the heat kick up, I think this is going to be a game changer. I hate having the sheets stick to me at night, and I think this will help. 8 Sleep helps you become a more efficient sleeper by helping you get to bed quicker and by reducing some of your light sleep in exchange for deep sleep. The goal while asleep is to get as much deep and as much REM sleep as possible while limiting the amount of light sleep. Ideally, 8 Sleep should help you feel more recovered in the morning without changing the amount of time you spent in bed. 8 Sleep has a bunch of data from their users showing an increase in deep sleep, and people are falling asleep faster. But I wouldn't take 8 Sleep's own studies too seriously because they're trying to sell you something. If the data didn't prove that 8 Sleep was helping, they would just throw that out and not include it in the study. And unfortunately, I couldn't really find any third-party official studies. So instead, I thought I would test for myself using my Oura Ring's data. I did 30 days with the 8 sleep enabled, and then 30 days with it disabled, and I've rotated each week. So 7 days on, 7 days off, 7 days on, 7 days off, and then kept going. But keep in mind, Oura Ring's data isn't nearly as accurate as a professional sleep study would be. My experiment was very unscientific, but I tried to keep major variables consistent like caffeine, alcohol, and exercise. So according to my Oura Ring, about 28.3% of my sleep was deep sleep with the 8 sleep enabled. With the 8 sleep disabled, 25.4% of my sleep was deep sleep. So that means with the 8 sleep enabled, I was able to get about 11% more deep sleep than normal, which works out to be about 14 minutes per night. But interestingly, my REM sleep declined by about 5% with the 8 sleep enabled. So overall, my testing showed that my light sleep decreased by a small yet noticeable margin, which I consider a win. But throw out all the data. Here's all you really need to know. I was planning to do this study for 60 days with the 8 sleep enabled and 60 days without, but I had to cut it short because I hated sleeping without the 8 sleep. 8 sleep tracks your movements, your heart rate variability, your respiratory rate, and your sleep cycles as you sleep. The best part is that you don't have to wear anything on your wrist or your finger, and everything happens automatically without you touching anything. Each morning you're provided with a sleep fitness score based on a 100-point scale. This number comes from a combination of time slept, wake up consistency, time to fall asleep, and time to get up. 8 sleep's sleep data isn't perfect, but I found it to match pretty closely to my Oura Ring as long as I stayed on my side of the bed and didn't accidentally roll over to my wife's. HRV is one of the most important metrics to know if your body is recovered from the previous day, and 8 sleep does a really good job of tracking this. Basic sleep trackers like the Apple Watch don't provide HRV data, and the ones that do provide the HRV data like the Whoop and Oura Ring cost over $300. So I wouldn't buy the Pod Pro cover just for the sleep tracking alone, but it's a really nice sweetener. 8 sleep has a feature called Gentle Rise that vibrates the bed when it's time to wake up. You can add more heat or coolness to your wake up time too. My wife loves this feature and she thinks it's one of the best 8 sleep has to offer. I actually haven't used an alarm clock in like 5 years, but I really appreciate this feature because when my wife wakes up, the vibrations don't wake me up. Compare that to a loud phone alarm that wakes up everybody in the room. I think this feature would be essential if you and your partner have drastically different wake up times. You can import exercise data from Apple Health, Peloton, Fitbit, and others to give 8 sleep a better idea of your life outside of the bed, to make better recommendations and understand your metrics better. You can also export your sleep data from the 8 sleep app to the Apple Health app. I love having my weight imported from my Eufy scale every morning, my exercise and heart data from my Apple Watch, and now my sleep from the 8 sleep, all in the same spot. You can create some interesting automations with your smart devices with if this and that as well. For example, you could create an automation that turns on your smart lights after your 8 sleep alarm goes off. The 8 sleep Pod Pro cover costs somewhere between $1,500 and $1,900 depending on the size of your bed. Or if you want 8 sleep's mattress to go along with it, it'll cost you somewhere between $2,700 and $3,400. You can also finance at 0% interest. It'll be an average of like $70 over a span of 2 years each month. And this definitely helps lighten the blow a little bit. 8 sleep also has a new 8 Plus Pro subscription plan. It has an interesting autopilot feature that will adjust your bed's temperature based on your past history and bedroom temperature and other factors automatically. But for an additional $15 a month, it kind of feels like a pure cash grab. You don't need the subscription, so I would skip it, but even if you skip it, the 8 sleep is just expensive. So how do I justify 8 sleep's price? Well, I don't really know how to say this without coming off like a full-time mattress salesman, but we do spend 25% of our lives in bed. Sleep is huge for mental and physical health, which is why I treat purchases like this as more of an investment than just like nerdy tech products that I buy for fun. Before my purchase, I wrote that if 8 sleep could improve my sleep by just 10%, I would consider this experiment a huge win. I didn't quite reach my goal with provable data, but I still feel good about the buy. If you have the means and you want to optimize your health, 8 Sleep makes a lot of sense. With that being said, I slept without an 8 Sleep for almost 30 years without much of an issue, aside from a few really hot summer nights. The 8 Sleep is definitely a luxury purchase and not a necessity. If you buy the Pod Pro cover, you'll need to sacrifice a little bit of comfort on the surface. The Pod Pro cover has foam around the coils on the grid in an attempt to hide them, but you can still feel the coils and the sensors throughout the bed. There's a strap that attaches the cover to the encasement that runs across my chest as well. But I got used to the strap and the coils after just a few weeks, and I don't really even notice them anymore. It's tough to tell if the 8 Sleep's added firmness is just because it's not fully broken in yet, or maybe I'm just not used to my new bed yet, but it's definitely adding some firmness. I like a mattress on the firmer side anyways, but if you like something soft and squishy, maybe this isn't for you. But sacrificing a small bit of surface comfort in exchange for a huge difference in temperature level comfort, I think that's a huge win. Another thing to consider is the temperature zones. The temperature zones are great, but they create a boundary line between the two sides of the bed. If you and your partner have vastly different preferences in temperature, you might not like the experience if you accidentally roll over to their side. Luckily, we have a king-size bed, so it's really easy to stay on our own sides. But if you've got a full-size mattress, or you and your partner like to sleep really close to each other, this might become an issue if you have different temperature preferences. After a few months, my 8 Sleep started to get a bit noisy near where the hose connects to the bed. I was a bit worried, but I primed the pump, which just circulated the water around for a couple of hours, and it removed all the air bubbles, and the noise went away completely. Overall, I haven't had any issues with my 8 Sleep, but let's consider the crazy amount of tech included inside of an 8 Sleep. You've got the hub, you've got the coils, you've got water circulating around, and you've got a bunch of sensors. If any of these components stop working properly, it's really gonna hurt the experience. Fortunately, 8 Sleep has a 2-year limited warranty, but will my 8 Sleep last past these 2 years? And if my 8 Sleep does break down after 2 years, how much will it cost to get it fixed? And will 8 Sleep even be a company in 2 years? It seems like a really cool company, but it's only a little startup. This is all just speculative, and maybe I shouldn't have even included this section, but I think it's good to consider when you're dropping this much money on a purchase. And for me, if I can get 4 to 5 really good years out of this, I'll be really satisfied. To go along with the lack of real reviews, 8 Sleep's marketing was another red flag that almost made me not buy it. I was spammed with about 10 emails and a text message about some amazing deal that I had to hop on as soon as possible, or I'd be an idiot not to. Premium brands typically don't need to sell this hard, and I didn't really like this. But despite 8 Sleep's poor marketing judgment, it's an amazing product. You should buy the 8 Sleep Pod Pro cover if you're often uncomfortable at nighttime. And it's ideal for those in hot climates or those who sleep in a room that doesn't have easy access to an air conditioner. Ideally, the 8 Sleep will help you decrease your light sleep and help your recovery when you wake up. The sleep tracking and the vibration alarm are awesome features as well. I could only prove a small yet noticeable difference in my sleep quality with data. But most importantly, I hated sleeping without my 8 Sleep. If you are interested in the 8 Sleep, I'll leave an affiliate link in the description below. If you use my link, you'll get $200 off your purchase, but keep in mind that I'll get $100 for referring you. So I'm just being honest. And there's actually nothing really special about this $200 off. It's pretty easy to find all over the internet. So if you don't want to use it, don't use it. But if you do use the link, it will help me out so I can buy more cool stuff to review on this channel. So I appreciate it if you do. So that's all I have for this video. Let me know if there are still things that I didn't cover that you want answers to, and I'll get right back to you. And I'd be interested to hear why or why not you're planning to buy one, or if there are alternatives you're considering. So thanks for watching. I'm out.